Hello and welcome to What's in this week's Oban Times with me, Ellis Butcher.
Me, Fiona Scott.
And me, Kathy Griffiths.
And also joining us, as ever, just before he slopes off on his little hollybobs, is our man in the IT room, Mr. Sir Stephen Day. What a week it's been. It's, week 11, I think, of lockdown now. Counting. Well into 11 weeks. June the 10th when we're recording this, which means it's only 11 days until the shortest day of the year. The nights will be rolling in, I'm sure. But it's been a very, very busy week again at the Oban Times. We do a cracking job, blowing our own trumpet here, but we've got this newspaper out, as we have done for decades. And we've got another action-packed, cracking edition this week with plenty of local news and plenty of brilliant photographs as well. So in terms of myself, what I've been doing this week is, of course, I was called out on Sunday to this really, really quite tragic fire up at the Oban Livestock Centre. And I don't need to tell anyone that you could see the smoke for absolute miles. And I've got to say that you go out to these incidents as a journalist, and you feel, really both impressed by the response of the emergency services, but also you feel a deep concern as well for those whose lives and businesses are impacted by them. And to that end, I went up to the Livestock Centre this week in the aftermath to speak to a couple of people. And I've managed to speak to a chap called David Connor. And many people out there will know David. He runs a haulage and contracting firm from that site. Now, I have to emphasise that the mart itself wasn't damaged, but I've had a big chat with David about where this leaves his business, and he's confident that he can come back from this. But to see the damage, and to see the effect of fire, just on buildings, thank God nobody was injured, thank God nobody was killed, but it really does bring it home to you how damaging these things can be. But the response of the firefighters, being there and seeing them and seeing those flames and seeing those sort of massive plumes of smoke billowing across the sky for miles, you really get a sense of what an incredible job that those firefighters do.
I think a lot of them were retained stations, weren't they? There was quite a few retained firefighters from Dalmally and Appin. They were all involved.
Absolutely, yeah. They were brought in from Inverary and Lochiel Ped as well, and there were about 30 at the scene in total. But I've had a chat with David Connor, and there is some light at the end of the tunnel. It's been very sad. The mart itself isn't damaged, but you can read all about the impact of this fire in this week's Oban Times. So just turning to you, Kathy, what have you been up to this week? Give us some light relief.
Well, do you know what? I've had some cracking stories this week, and one of them was it came from some American researchers there at the University of Texas in Austin, and they declared that the world's oldest bug, and I'm not talking about you, Ellis, the world's oldest bug is a 425 million year old millipede, and it was found on the wonderful island of Kerrera, just opposite Oban. So there you go, a new claim to fame for the folks on Kerrera there. And of course,
Kathy, could this be the start of a Jurassic Park on Kerrera?
How great would that be?
Yeah.
Because in 2018, it was over on Sky, wasn't it, that they found this a footprint belonging to a dinosaur from about 170 million years ago. So that's nothing compared to Kerrera's 425 million year old millipede. So impressive stuff there on Kerrera. But yeah, Jurassic Park. Oh, was that Harrison Ford?
No.
Was he not in that?
No, it was Jeff Goldblum and Richard Attenborough.
I was trying to think, what would I be more excited about? An ancient fossil or seeing Harrison Ford? Oh, maybe same thing.
Or a T-Rex wading its way across Oban Bay.
Oh, that wouldn't bother me. So I really enjoyed that story this week. And of course, the people in Kerrera, they're putting plans in place to have like an exhibition, a heritage exhibition at the old school when they open it up as a community centre. So I think the story of the fossil will definitely have a place there. Fiona, what about you? What have you been working on?
Well, as has been the norm for the last few weeks, I've had 1 foot in Oban and 1 foot in Lochaber, so I've been jumping about between 2 papers. But Ellis said at the start of this podcast today that the paper was action-packed this week, and on my part, it certainly has been. I've been talking to a lady from Oban, Lindsay McKenzie, who's a PE teacher at the Nicholson Institute in Stornoway, and she's taken part in a virtual round-the-world challenge. So they're seeing how far collectively they can travel using various non-motorised modes of transport. So some are walking, others are cycling, some are kayaking, and surfing has also been mentioned. So look in the Oban Times this week and you can see what they've all been doing, but it sounds great. It sounds like something you'd get involved with, Kathy.
Well, I was thinking cartwheeling.
Well,
haven't done one of those for a while, folks, but hey.
I didn't hear that mentioned, but you never know, Kathy. We want to see the video of that, please. And also, as usual, I've been on the sports pages. Great, because we've actually had some sport. Not competitive, but the golf courses are all opening up again. So we've got Glencruiton, Tynalt and Dalmally all opening their gates to members with strict lockdown rules in place, but the golfers are out in force. All 3 golf courses have got strict guidelines, but Tynalt already, by Monday, had recorded 300 rounds with over 30 players turning up each day. So just shows you how desperate people are to get out there and get some exercise. And we round the golf. And
I've seen the golfers out on Seal Golf Course as well, so they're in full swing.
Seal's open, and I think Mal is as well. So that's all good, and of course the tennis courts at Atlantis too. So you can read about all of them and how to join up and go along and get a game of tennis or a round of golf.
Isn't it
Oban Times?
Isn't it reassuring to see kind of normal life? All right, not entirely coming back, but the first sort of green shoots really coming through of life returning to some kind of normality.
Definitely is, Ellis, and it just shows you can still do things. I think that we're all going to have to do all the things we enjoy differently from now on. I'm talking maybe years even. We're just going to have to get our brains around doing things differently, but the golfers all seem to be enjoying, the same round of golf.
Yeah.
Just in a different way, and it's the same with the tennis guys. So yeah, it's.
You make a really good point about the fact that we're all going to have to adjust to sort of living, working, playing sports in different ways, and that actually seamlessly takes me on to my next story that I've been doing this week. And this is about a small little shop on Stafford Street opposite the distillery in Oban called the Oban Beer Cellar. Now, regular readers of the Oban Times will know that Karen Lindsay, who owns the shop, she was all geared up in March to launch this new venture. She'd spent 18 months planning it, God knows how many thousands of pounds, fitting the shop out and getting the beers in. And of course, what happened, we all know what happened. Coronavirus struck. I think she opened for half a day. And then the lockdown came in. She had to shut the doors. And of course, it's been 11 weeks, really, with the doors being closed. She did manage to set up a little system whereby you could email her and get a list of beers, and then you could pick them up from the shop. But the news this week is that the Oban Beer Cellar is going to be opening, albeit on a part-time basis, and she'll be limiting numbers. There'll be some clear guidelines in place for social distancing. There'll be a big cleaning regime. She's limiting the hours, and she'll be still taking online orders as well. So the beers are back at the Oban Beer Cellar, and I'm pretty sure we'll all be looking forward to one.
Who's got callers at this time of the day, can I ask?
I think it could well be my typewriter arriving.
Oh, how exciting.
A new typewriter.
Well,
after I broke the last one.
Well, listen, talking about things that just turn up, anyone superstitious out there?
No.
Well, Friday the 13th might be unlucky for some, but I was talking to a lady who's a shepherdess on Mull called Rhoda Munro, and for her, Friday the 13th was very lucky this year because as she was on her way to Gometra, little island off Ulverway off Mull. She saw something big and black washed up on the beach, and it turned out to be a boat that was worth £48,000. Now, she did a bit of her own investigation and things to find out where this had come from. And the turnout of the story is that she's allowed to keep it. Now, this boat was on its way from Denmark to its new where it'd been made, to its new owners in Greenland, when a big storm struck and it fell off the ship, basically, washed up on Mull. And now Rhoda, very lucky for her, is the new owner. Needs to put a £20,000 engine in mind, but she's feeling lucky and happy about it. So you can read about that as well online in the on our website and in this week's paper. So there you go. So no longer fear Friday the 13th, folk. For some of us, it might well be lucky.
You could say her ship came in.
I'm going to start looking out for floating Ferraris and
floating Ferraris, cavorting Cadillacs.
It makes a change from just finding a couple of plastic bottles, which is usually what I would find washed up on a beach.
You can't beat finding a fiver in an old anorak pocket, though, can you?
Oh, you can't. So, obviously, as you can tell, there's plenty going on in the Oban Times this week. And even despite the coronavirus, we've kept on going. And we're always happy to hear from you too. So please stay in touch with us. Keep sending your stories in. Keep sharing your photos too. You can give us a bell on 01631 568 000. You can email the editor at editor@obantimes.co.uk, or you can message us on Facebook. And don't forget as well, during the COVID crisis, you can read all our stories online for free, or you can pick up a copy of the OT from supermarkets, newsagents where they're open, and petrol stations. And the most important thing of all is, don't forget, you can get the page-turning digital edition of the Oban Times. You can get 3 months for the discounted price of just £4.80, less than a fiver. So that's all we've got for this week, but most importantly, stay safe, stay home, protect the NHS, and it's a big goodbye from me, Alice Butcher.
Bye from me, Fiona Scott.
And goodbye from me, Kathy Griffiths.
You all take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.